Hello, and welcome to episode 53 of Recentered, a VR podcast. I'm your host, Rog, and joining me as always, we've got Lee and no Gary. Unfortunately, the lack of cake situation was so untenable, we had to send Warwick Davis round to Gary's house with his P45. But yeah, it's just us two on this one, and we'll get into why later on. Before then, though, Lee, what you been up to apart from moving house? Anything else?
It's actually about half a mile from where I used to live as a kid. So all I've been doing is like walking around, going, with the missus going, oh, I can remember when that used to be this, or that used to be like that, and this pathway didn't used to be here, and all that. So I've been doing that for the past 3 months. But in the world of VR, yeah, I've done actually probably more than I have done the last year.
It's been a bit weird, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a bit weird because, for those who don't know, Meta shut down all their studios for making games. There was a Batman sequel, right? There was apparently a game by Skydance, which is going to be a Harry Potter game in VR for the Quest 3, and Meta shut it all down. So to get back at them, like they really care, I sold my Quest 3 the next day after they announced all that. So I think, take that, boss. Take this Quest 3 and shove it. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. I'm sick of it. And Gary was like, well, you sure you're not being a little bit too hasty doing this? You know what I'm like, ADHD and all that. And to be honest, I'm kind of missing it a little bit now, just because of the ease of playing all the latest games and that. But here's what I did. I thought I still want to play things like Lone Echo and maybe jump into some Half-Life Alyx now and again. And my PC will just about play those okay. I was looking around and I've kind of gone back. I've kind of regressed to when I enjoyed VR. So I picked up a Rift S, and I paid the massive sum of £38 for it. And I mean, you can't even buy the cable for that.
That's crazy.
So,
that is ludicrous. Yeah.
And it all works fine. I mean, the bloke says, yeah, look, everything works. I just don't use it no more. And I picked it up. The only thing was, as what happens with these Rift S's, the pads and that get caked in all sorts. So I was trying to find replacement ones, but you can't get them, obviously. And I did find a replacement headset with pads on it, which was just the headset and the pads, no cable, no controllers, and I paid £21 for that. I mean, you can't really get the pads. Well, you couldn't get the pads for that price, so I've now got a replacement headset as well. But not only that, I was playing Lone Echo, and I thought, man, this looks so good in an OLED headset. If only I could afford a nice, cheap OLED headset. I literally went on Facebook Marketplace, and an original Oculus Quest popped up, and it was £30. So I went and picked that up off the guy. He said, look, last time I used it, it's not been charged, but last time I used it, everything works. If it don't, bring it all back. And it was like 20-minute drive away. I was like, all right, mate, no worries. This is where the issue started a little bit for me, was trying to get that to work with the Quest app. Now, I'm not saying Meta have done this on purpose, but when you try and connect it all up, because you have to go through all that stupid thing of pairing it with this number, and then you go through a safety guide, don't you? Don't do this in your space, or make sure you've got enough room for this, that, and all that. Then after all that's played on the mobile app, it comes up with Connect at the bottom. You click Connect, your headset downloads a little update, and then boom, you're straight in your original Quest.
Yeah.
However, that Connect button doesn't appear on the latest app that Meta's got out. So you have to do a little bit of detective work, uninstall that, download an old version, then connect again to your Quest, and go through it all, and it comes up with Connect on that, and you click Connect, it all connects up, it's all done, it's all working, and then you just update to the latest version of the app. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying that Meta have done that on purpose to stop you loading up an old Quest or buying an original Quest and seeing how it goes. But I'll tell you this though, I still got when I loaded it up, I thought, oh, maybe I've got 4 or 5 apps that still work Quest-wise. There's 150 on it. Now, as for what state they work in, I tried Walkabout Mini Golf, and I've got up to the Journey to the Centre of the Earth DLC for 30 quid. I mean, what do you want? If
there's anybody out there wanting to get into VR, just don't buy a new headset. Look on Marketplace or wherever. And, if you can pick a Rift S up or an original Quest up, or, anywhere from 30 to between 30 and 100 quid, depending on the condition and everything else. It's such a cheap entry point. Like you say, you've got to mess around with it a bit if you get that Quest 1. But anyway, we have actually been playing a couple of things at least. We did get around to a few titles. I'll say few, well, 2. And that's all thanks to FlatOut VR Studios.
Yeah, just a big shout out to them for still keeping that flame going. They still keep wafting it so it doesn't go out.
Yeah, it does sort of feel like they're the I don't know, say only company rather than sort of independent. I mean, I know they're like an independent publisher doing their thing. But yeah, I mean, we did get a key for Aeon of Ruin a while back. I mean, that's been out ages now anyway, so I'll briefly go over it. And unfortunately, it's one of those games where it's not my thing, bizarrely, even though it's very retro. And I've heard of the Flat one before. I've even got it in my library, so it must have been in a bundle. And for some reason, I thought it was like a sort of a remake of an old existing game. And it wasn't. It was made, I mean, it's 2017, 2018, I think it first came out in early access, the Flat one. But it was basically, done in the old Quake style. And the problem I've got is, although it does that, it absolutely does that flawlessly, really. The old sort of original Quake style of sort of shooter isn't really my thing. I do like it multiplayer, sort of like Quake, going to sort of more Quake 3 or even Unreal Tournament. I could still sit down and have a blast multiplayer. But the retro side of the sort of Quake era is never really, I don't know. I've never really been too bothered about going back to it. That style, I think, that low poly, low texture style, it's a bit like PlayStation 1. Unless I've got any real enthusiasm for a specific title, then a new title done in that style doesn't really interest me. But they set out to make a VR version of that game, and they did it. It's as simple as that. If you remember the original, the flat version of Wrath, and you always thought, oh, I'd like to play this in VR, then this is it. It's absolutely it. And that's all I can really say. I can't comment more than that because it really isn't the game for me. I would say the one thing that did slightly bug me in it, and I'm sure other people have mentioned it as well, is some of the basic interactions. For a game like this now, if there's a button on a wall, let me reach out and press the button. Why am I pressing X or whatever it is on my controller to activate a button in a VR game, especially when it's a great big button on the wall? It's not a small interaction, it's just a reach out, touch it. Why can't I do that? It's sort of crazy.
I did like how you use the weapons. I like how it's another thing where I think you press a button, but it brings like a giant sword, like a laser sword, don't it? You're using a certain button to run and jump. And I found those quite intuitive after a couple of minutes of using those. It was really easy to play. And it felt like a native VR game. It didn't feel like modded to me. And I've only played like the first 2 levels, but no, I quite enjoy. If you just enjoy those like Sets Quake, Doom type things, then you'll really like this, I guess, as well.
Yeah, it was a game that's just not for me. But I think it's like 14.5 quid on Steam. So I mean, price wise, if you want that sort of thing, it's no brainer. It's like that's the one thing with FlatOut VR as well. They price things really well. You've got to give them that. If you want an old Quake type game and you've not picked it up yet, then it's like 14.5 quid. It's you really can't complain. Well, talking of FlatOut VR, the second one is the one we were actually waiting for before doing a podcast, which is FlatOut 4 Total Insanity VR. And again, as we're recording this, it's 16 quid. It's probably going to take a day or so for us to sort of push this podcast out. So it will probably be up to a month, depending. The normal price is £17.75. Again, sub 20 quid. Absolutely ridiculously well priced. But yeah, it's FlatOut in VR. And yeah, I like this one. It's early access. And it is again, an old flat game transplanted into VR. But this has been done pretty well. The original game didn't actually have 3D interiors for the cars, so they've had to go in and build all those. And you've got the entire sort of campaign and multiplayer stuff from the original game. So you've got the races, the time trials, there's modes with weaponry, stunt mode, an arena mode, online multiplayer. And again, this was, and my phone's going off.
I thought there was an ice cream van going past. At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Do you know why there's a 9 o'clock alarm?
Because I said, let's go live around about 9ish, because that's when I'm up and about.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's good.
I mean, it even plays all right on my PC, to be fair, and you can upscale it, like a built-in up-res, aren't they? So I think I put it on 1.7. I got advice to try that now. My PC, like I say, again, is not the greatest, but the first couple of courses look really good, and then when it gets a bit more in-depth on my PC, it struggles. But
Yeah.
I do like the courses, and it is great fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I'd say maybe some of the smoke effects need dialing back a bit. There's points where you're driving behind other cars you cannot see. The only reason I knew where I was going was because I couldn't see where I was going. So I knew I was in the smoke trail of the other cars that were in front of me. And that is sort of kind of crazy. But yeah, it's decent. And again, it's like another sub 20 quid game. And it's probably one of the best releases in VR this year, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
Yeah. It's very, very good.
I mean, if you've got friends, then it's going to be a right blast playing that in VR, more than smashing into each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The only thing at the moment, because it is in early access, but the options screen, good grief, please sort it out. Please sort that out.
I think they have improved it. I said to you, they've improved it since the last time I went in. Because when I went in, I couldn't recenter. It told you to recenter by clicking both thumbsticks down.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. Now, I totally understand there's so many different headsets, so many different PC setups that they've got to get these buttons to work on all of them at the same time. So it's a bit of a task, but they fixed that. And when I went into the menus, it was a lot easier. It doesn't really give you much guidance on what to do apart from that. Like, is it back button, B to go back, or because you sort of have to press. Is it A to go into a menu bit? Then you have to move down with the thumbstick, but then you have to move left and right with the thumbstick to turn things on and off. And that's the bit. The weird
thing is you have to sort of scroll down to the option you want, press a button to select that option, which does nothing to highlight that you've actually selected that option, and then you can move out your thumbstick or do whatever to change the option, and then you have to press like B or whatever it is to back out of the op button.
And then it's the thumb buttons at the top to move. You can't move left and right on the pads, they don't work. But I mean, Scorpio told me this was just set up really for the menus to be accessed by using your Quest controllers or your controllers.
You can't select anything in the menus with that at all. And if you bring the menu up during the game, then you've got no sort of laser pointer type. It's not quite laser, is it? But basically a laser pointer sort of thing. That isn't there. You've got to fully do it using using your controllers. You can play it on a joypad. So you don't have to use your Quest controllers. And like any racing game, I always prefer that on a joypad rather than two separated controllers. It always feels a bit weird and floaty. It's better to have a joypad there, for me anyway.
I mean, it does have wheel support as well, and I think there might be more wheel support for it. So if you've got a 920 Logitech thing, I think that works straight out the box.
Yeah, it's got loads of wheel support, graphics options, everything you want, really. You can set your default sort of driver position backwards and forwards and tune it to where you want it and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's good. It's absolutely worth the money. So yeah, if you want FlatOut in VR, it delivers, absolutely delivers. I'll say it is in early access, but again, you can't complain for the price. It's very well priced. And that is literally all. I think that is literally all I've played in VR. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I mean, we dropped in some walkabout mini golf.
Oh, we did.
Convinced you, didn't I?
That's the couple
latest maps.
The first time this year, wasn't it, that we've actually had a game of walkabout mini golf.
And I wish I'd not, because Rod's got like minus 18 while not even concentrating. So I should have just not bothered, to be honest. But those maps were really good. There was like a Hollywood one, right? We were in a set of studios, and that's quite interesting.
Yeah, the Hollywood backlot one, and it was the not pineapples,
Hawaiian Island with coconuts and stuff like that.
That's it.
Tiki Island thing. That was really good as well. Yeah. So if you're into walkabout mini golf, that's still going. Yeah. And they just brought that Bloxburg one out, right? But I've not got that one yet.
Yeah. It's sort of crazy. We used to play it every week, didn't we? It was just like we were always playing it.
2 or 3 times, easy.
Yeah. And now this is like the first time. It was literally the other week. So it's like the first time in 4 months since we've jumped into a game together.
And I will give Meta credit for one thing. So if anyone wants to timestamp this as well, they do still honour the cross-buy on the Rift Store and the Quest. So if you've got a Quest 3 or if you're using a Rift S or it for PCVR, I mean, I picked these up and I can play them wirelessly on the Quest or the Rift S, the new maps, through PCVR. And I've still got all the other ones that I bought on the Quest as well because it's cross-buy. So I will still give them that.
that's all I've been doing VR wise. It's absolutely crazy. I did pick up a Steam controller. I did manage to get one. That came the other day. It's a decent pad. I like how it feels. It's sort of, it's pretty much quite the right size for me. I do quite like that. There's like 2 buttons on each side underneath, and they just pretty much fall into the right place for me. I know some people say it's not quite there for them, but again, it depends on the shape and the size of your hands, doesn't it? How it's gonna fit. But yeah, it feels. Oh, shut up!
Someone played that.
The trackpad actually works quite well once you've whacked the sensitivity up to about 300%. Yeah, it's fine. It is good. The one thing, and I knew this going into it, but it's annoyed me more than it should. And it's the reason I wouldn't actually, I wouldn't recommend it if you're a gamer who plays stuff on Steam and on Xbox. Say you've got like a Game Pass subscription, and you play stuff maybe a little bit on the Epic Store, although most people probably don't. And you do other stuff with your joypad in Windows, maybe emulation stuff as well and everything. This is designed to work with Steam, and it's pretty much only designed to work with Steam. It does not emulate an Xbox gamepad or anything else. So you try and use it with anything else, and you're going to be jumping through hoops. If you are 99.9% a Steam gamer, then yeah, it's a good pad. The battery life on it's supposed to be brilliant. It's supposed to be like 35 hours or so. And the little puck it clips onto, you just put it on your desk, and it's like you put your pad down just vaguely over the top of it, and it just snaps on there, comes off easily. Yeah, brilliant. You're not going to forget to recharge it because it's like zero effort. The setup was easy. Is it worth 85 quid? Not really. I don't think so. Is it a good pad? Yes. For most people, is an Xbox pad of some description a better choice? I'd probably say yes. The one thing that you might want one for is if you're thinking of getting a Steam machine, if you actually get released at some point, and you want an extra pad, or the Steam frame as well, because the Steam frame does track this pad, and it's like, will I even bother getting a Steam frame if I can actually get hold of one when they come out, if I can even afford one? That's the other sort of if you end up with the Steam frame, you're probably going to want this joypad. But for most people, I would say look elsewhere. It's a good pad, but you'd probably, for most people, they will probably get more use out of, say, some sort of Xbox pad than they would out of this. But that's that. We'll see what happens, whether I keep it or not. I don't know. I'm 50-50 at the moment. Saying that, around Christmas time, I did buy a cheap 20 quid pad once because my Xbox pad packed up. And Gary had recommended this one off Amazon. Cheap 20 quid thing. I hated it when I got it. Then within a few days, I absolutely loved it. And I still like it now. It was like there was no reason for me to buy this Steam controller other than I wanted one. And I wanted to see what it was like. Yeah, it's a good joypad. But yeah, if you've not got older one yet, don't worry about it. And I wouldn't, if you've got an Xbox pad of some description, and you use other storefronts, do you really need one? Probably not. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, it was around Christmas time, and I've forgotten his name. I think was it Mike? Basically, one of the guys, a guy from Hero Mation who did the Phoenix Gene, which is something we covered, it must have been mid last year, I can't remember, on Quest. And we got an email round about Christmas saying, would you like, I don't know if you've covered this, would you like to cover it? If not, blah, blah, blah. And he actually said in his email, I think it's a bit of a Marmite game. So, we're just reaching out to people to see if they're interested in covering it or not. And I emailed him back and said, yeah, I played it. And I said what I liked and didn't like about it. And for me, it was a bit sort of one of those Marmite things where I like the idea of it being like a shooter. It's a bit like Yuki, where you sort of you hold, I say it's a ship, it's a Phoenix in your hand, and you move your hand about to guide the Phoenix about and shoot stuff. And it was the mix of shooting and story, which didn't quite gel with me. There's a lot of story there, and they've definitely got a story they want to tell. And it didn't quite work for me. And but yeah, he came because he's a very nice guy. Said thank you for the feedback and whatever. And that was just before Christmas. When it was Christmas, he, sent an email as well as a follow-up saying Happy Christmas and everything. And he just came across as a genuine nice guy. Wasn't upset that I wasn't particularly a massive fan of it or anything like that. And he was just really nice about it. So I said, when we do the next podcast, I'll give you a shout out, because I'd looked on Steam. It was the Quest version we reviewed. I'd looked on Steam and there's a demo on there, so you can go and look at it for yourself and make your mind up.
I actually saw it on X as well this morning when I woke up and I started scrolling through that. I think the devs have put something on about it there, and it's got like loads of really good reviews and people saying how great it is on like a massive poster. As you put, so and so said this, blah blah said that. But and they've got loads of them on there.
Yeah.
So
again, it's like
updated it quite a bit.
It's £19.99 on Steam. 20 quid on Steam. The Quest version is the same price, although I did have a look early before we came on, and I think it's on sale for £12.99 at the minute, probably for the next few days, depending on how fast we get this podcast out. But yeah, I wanted to give him a shout out because he came across as a nice guy and was appreciated just us getting back in touch and saying what we did. So I thought there's no harm in giving him a shout out. We might as well go into what's been happening or what's happening, or do we know what's happening? I mean, first off, Gary's had enough with doing podcasts. We won't talk about it because, well, he can tell people when he wants to tell people about it, but he's sort of his free time. He's got an ongoing project that he's really into now, and it's sort of VR's just been sort of sidelined, really. He was going to try and join us to do this, but he ended up having to go away for work. And then he's got stuff with the kids to sort out as well, so he couldn't make it. We were originally going to record this a few weeks back, and we were waiting for FlatOut VR to come out, weren't we? And we'd got a date lined up. We thought, well, if it comes out, if we record then the game should be out a few days before. We can get a bit of timing on it. And then they delayed it 2 weeks, and then that just screwed everything over. And so it sort of got delayed. And so, yeah, Gary's basically had enough just of the whole sort of a podcast thing. And when we were on Discord the other week, I must admit, I'm in pretty much the same sort of boat in the fact that I put a message on our chat saying, that's it, I've had enough, my enthusiasm's just gone. And it has. The problem is I just can't be bothered most of the time to stick a headset on when I've got so much more there in the way of quality AAA flat stuff that I've just not got round to playing and that I've left behind. And it's just easier. And this is the problem. Or the problem really is the fact that the games I want aren't there. I need AAA stuff to supplement all the indie stuff. There's some great indie stuff out there. There really is. But the problem is, it's like the same with flat gaming. I'll play, indie flat games, but I need the AAA stuff as well. I can't just live on the indie stuff. I need something that's had money behind it, and whether that's, the graphics, the visuals, the quality storytelling, the gameplay mechanics and everything. And a lot of the VR stuff just feels the same, and it's really got me down. The upside of it is what's happening with the podcast. I keep saying I've had enough. I don't want to give it up, but at the same time, I've got nothing left to be enthusiastic about in the VR side of things. The whole thing, what happened since Christmas with like Meta shutting everything down. We've had studios going under, Servios, they're gone pretty much. And they're not the only ones. It just seems to be failing. I know we won't mention specific names, but I know you were talking to somebody, weren't you? And they called it was it a reset?
The Great Reset.
The Great Reset. The bizarre thing is, I've seen other people now on social media, other VR creators, or at least a couple anyway, say exactly the same thing, calling it the same thing. This great reset for VR, it's going back to the beginning and it's sort of starting again. I'm thinking that's no place to be in. The one thing I will say is I still believe VR is going to be, one day it will be massive. That aside, is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm still waiting for you to play Planet Alana 2.
Yeah, I know. I've got it installed. I've got Secret of Monkey Island installed because you told me I'm going to play that, which I've still not played yet as well.
So we get to this point of I don't know what to do. Gary's had enough, and then Lee finally sorts out his room.
Yeah, hopefully I can get in there, get some lighting going off. I've got a few ideas that I'd like to do, but it is just something that I'm going to be doing now and again, which is what I've always done anyway. I've never made a YouTube channel to make money or to have thousands of subscribers. That's exactly what I do not want. Which I've said before. We did the UEVR thing with Alex, didn't we? And it had like 38,000 views. And I wanted to pull that video.
You've no idea how much Lee panicked when that happened. Yeah. It was hilarious. He was in chat with me and Gary. He said, we should take it down. We should take it down. I know he's sort of laughing there saying, I don't want thousands of subscribers or whatever. The weird thing is the channels I watch these days or the channels I interact with are either people I actually know to talk to online, or if it's somebody I don't interact with, it's still probably a low subscription channel because people are doing it for the love of it.
Yeah.
Rather than for trying to overact and overreact and, to get the subscribers and to get the clicks. Yeah, I prefer small channels because they're more genuine. They really are.
I agree. Like and subscribe to me, folks. I just want to say thanks to everyone. If we don't ever come back on, the last 3 years doing the podcast, we might get a little bit emotional here, Rog. It saved me probably a couple of times. A lot of times I've not been in the greatest of places, and doing the podcast has kept me going, and the enjoyment of getting these videos and just talking to Gary and Rog, because I think we've become good friends over this, and that's one thing that I will miss is talking to you and Gary, because I'm a huge fan of Gary, because he's great. He's a great bloke, isn't he? He never says a bad thing. He's always positive. He's an author, is doing other things that we're not allowed to talk about. But yeah, go buy Gary's book on Amazon. It's called The Memory Engine. And go show him some support there by picking it up, because of this influx of orders. People are like, what the hell's going on? Who's told them about this? He never advertises that. He never tells folks about it.
And yeah, I'll say we won't talk about his other thing, even though it is publicly out there. So go and hunt around on Steam or YouTube and you might find out what he's been up to.
We'll still talk anyway.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do a podcast, right?
Yeah. Look, the whole VR thing has meant massive amounts to me over the past decade now, or more than anybody knows, really. VR has been a very stabilizing thing during that time and given me something to focus on. And yeah, so thank you to Gary, especially for even starting this podcast and even doing the old VR roundtable as well. There's always been something there. First, I think it was VR 365. I think Anthony doing his thing, which led on to sort of. Actually, it wasn't onto that, as it that came after, because Gary was on as a guest on Anthony's Vivecast podcast. Now go and find out.
You can find that on YouTube.
Go and hunt out the Vivecast episode 10. I think it was only 10 episodes, and Gary was as a guest on episode 10, and then after that's when VR Roundtable got created, and they did that for that was about 3 years or so, wasn't it? Something like that. This came about when I went down to the Retro Museum and met Gary.
That's where we all met.
And then you came down the time after, and then we met.
Yeah, I came down with PD because he was, and I've said this before, quote, meeting a fan, and that fan was Rog. So that's when we all met up, and I got Gary to sign my book that says #ProGamer on it. And that's where we all met. And then when Gary's actually started coming up, because he put it on Twitter, didn't it? I'm thinking about doing another podcast, to anyone who might be interested in doing it. And PD messaged me and said, why don't you do it? And I went, nobody wants to listen to this. Absolute garbage for 2 hours.
Yeah. He messaged me as well. So why don't you do it? And then Gary said, are you interested? And I'm like, oh no, it's not for me. It was it's been fun. It's oddly been stressful at times. It shouldn't be. There's no reason for it to be. But it's something I didn't expect to do, and it's been fun. And we've only ever done it as a hobby, and that's been great. But I will say to everybody who has ever listened to us, if you're listening now especially as well, still at the end of all this ranting and rambling.
To those three of you that's still listening.
One of the reasons I wanted to do this was because other podcasts that had come before had meant a lot to me as well. And had sort of, when I was feeling a bit crap or whatever, and a new podcast came out about VR, and I'd listen to it, and it had always sort of perked me up or whatever. There was all the ones back in the day, say VR Roundtable, Left-Handed VR Podcast, all the others.
This is the thing. I mean, you've told me about this before as well. I think we were driving back from Gary's, and I was like, this YouTube thing, I think I'm going to pack it up and fussed and that. And you said to me, you never know what difference you're making just to that one person who's watching.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know who's watching, or will never comment, or never like it, or do anything like that.
Yeah.
But what difference you can make in their life just for your silly little video and how it affects them. And I think YouTube does that for a lot of people. I'm not saying we do it, but
Other people's podcasts have done it for me, have made my life a little bit better here and there. So hopefully ours has done the same. Even if it's just one person, then it's been worth it.
I mean, ours has been a lot better, to be fair, than all the others. So,
and look, like I say, I don't know what's happening. My enthusiasm for VR has sort of wandered off. Who knows? So, next week something so shockingly amazing might come out that it's like, okay, yeah, let's jump back and let's do another episode. I don't know.
Yeah, never say never.
No, never say
Always
never.
Leave it open.
At the moment, it's just I need something better. I need something better to happen in the VR space for me to be enthused about.
Enjoy your summers. I'm sure we'll be back when Rog buys the Steam frame. We'll come out and talk about that not looking as good as the Quest 3.
You know what? If a Steam frame does come out and it isn't as ridiculously priced as we probably think it's going to be now because of what's been happening, and if I do get one, then I'll definitely we'll definitely have to jump on and do something about that. Anyway, the Discord will still be there. So if you've never bothered with Discord before and you want a very, very small sort of nice little community to jump into.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone on Discord. There's a couple that,
it's a bit like the old
quite regularly, so I appreciate that.
It's a bit like the old rendered reality Discord. There's still the old regulars on there who still talk on there because of that. There's like a small group of people who've known each other for years now, and those are the spots that still hang out and organise the occasional game of mini golf or whatever. Right. Well, on behalf of myself, of Lee, and of Gary, who still owes cake, those Mr. Kipling slices, they weren't cake. Thank you very much for listening. Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Hello, and welcome to... Hello, and welcome to episode 53 of Recentered, a VR podcast. I'm your host, Rog, and joining me as normal, we've got Lee and not Gary. I'm afraid the cake situation, or the lack of cake situation, was just so untenable. We had to send round Warwick. Oh, fuck's sake, I had the joke. I was just reaching over to grab it, but we're not on camera, really, so it's a bit pointless.
Well, we are, but you can't see us.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to at the minute.
Dude, I'm a fashion icon at the minute. I've got a knitted hoodie on that's all multicoloured. You know what? I might even just show a little clip of me like that. I've got bright red tracksuit bottoms on, like chavvy, proper chaffed up lot, and then I'm wearing the most amazing Crocs you've ever seen, which are that colour. So yeah, that's why we're not on camera.
I'm going to rebrand you to Bagpuss.
It is a bit bagpuss, isn't it? Oh, hold on a minute. That don't sound right, Victoria. Don't say a word.